So, welcome to Ecg Interpretations, so the basics. Today is the first day, and we're going to be running through the Ecg Interpretation Basics, i.e., what angles, what the lead represents, which waves to look at, the interpretation, the rhythm, and the basic concepts of when a clinician or a nurse or someone looks at an ECG, what is the first thing that you see and interpret. As the days progress throughout the week, we're going to be going on through different types of things. So, everyone that's joined this video or even made the effort of watching this video, please like, share and subscribe to our channel. And let's get started with the first day of ECG Interpretations Basics. So, how is an ECG usually recorded? Everyone knows that there is this 12K each kg lead, so basically it provides different views of the heart. Now the main thing and the fundamental point is what do you see on ECG? What are these lines? What are these deflections which are positive and some are negative and some are elevated and some are depressed? What do these lines mean? Now before we get into that, we need to understand that ECG is simply these consist of electrodes which are placed on both the chest and limbs, both the arms and the left leg, in order to record different views of the heart's electrical activity. Now on the right you can see I've basically added an animated video of how the electrical activity or the wiring of the heart is. So you can see that initially the electrical impulse starts in a node known as the sinoatrial node, located in the right atrium, top half of the right atrium, and then it passes itself down into the atrioventricular node, and from there it can go down into the bundle of His and then provide contractions to the left ventricle, and you can also see a branch going to the left atrium. Now an ECG basically assesses this electrical impulse. Now why do we get positive and negative deflections on the ECG graph is what most people don't understand, and which is what I'll be trying to explain in this video. Now before we do that, we have an ECG should always be recorded whenever a patient usually complains of chest pain. Whenever someone's complaining of chest pain, ECG is the gold standard recording procedure in order to detect any abnormalities within the heart. If they complain of palpitations, breathlessness, dizziness, or an episode of syncope, or they might be suffering, maybe in addition, a patient with stroke and transient ischemic attacks must have an ECG, as these may be due to an irregular heart rhythm. Now each of the heart view is described as a lead. Lead 1, as you can see on the screen in the middle, views the heart from the right arm. So imagine it going from the right arm to the left arm, so it's viewing the heart. If you watch my mouse, it's viewing the heart from this direction to this direction. Lead 2 is following pretty much the same way the SA node or the electrical activity, so it's looking at the heart in this direction. The impulses are moving in this direction, so you can see from the right arm to the left leg. Lead 3 is going from the left arm to the left leg. So pretty much from these, leads 1, 2 and 3 are unipolar leads, and then you have what's known as augmented voltage leads, AVR, AVL and AVF, which I'll go into in the next slide. Now let's look at lead 1. So imagine you're looking, the view that is provided from lead 1 is that your right arm is a negative pole of the electrode and the left arm is a positive pole. So you have electrons traveling from negative to positive. So you can see here pretty much the impulse is going from this direction downwards. So there wouldn't be much of a great activity. The only activity that you'll be able to see from lead 1 is the activity of the left atrium, i.e. this direction, since the action potential or the electrons or the flow of charges in that direction. You wouldn't be able to see much activity from the ventricles. Lead 2 and lead 3, however, follows from, so lead 2 goes from right arm to left leg, so you can see the flow of charges from the negative pole of the right arm to the positive pole of the left leg. So it's almost going down this direction, and you can see it follows the same pattern. So imagine it following the same way the SA node or the electric activity of the heart. So this is clearly indication of all the right atrium, the bundle of His, so the septal branches, and the left or the right ventricle mainly. Lead 3 also follows from a negative pole from the left arm to a positive pole on the left leg. So you can see that the main things that will be recorded here this time would be the left ventricle activity is greatly seen in the V3. Hopefully that's just an understanding of how these leads look at the different views.